Honestly, a lot of people wonder, why do you live in Lubbock? Why does anybody want to live in Lubbock, Texas? And the truth is, Lubbock is a lot more than just some small Texas town. Honestly, we have a vibrant culture scene, we have great schools, lower cost of living, and of course, little to no traffic. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking about all things living in Lubbock, from home prices to neighborhoods to commute times to job opportunities to lifestyle and things to do here in Lubbock. And we're going to get after it right now. Hey, I'm Sam Riddle, a Lubbock local real estate agent here, and I help people just like you make their move to Lubbock, Texas, and help learn all about what there is to know about Lubbock, Texas. And I can't wait to share all of that with you today in a little bit of a longer style video than I've done in the past. But I really wanted to dive into Lubbock and really just talk to you about what life is like living here in 2025. So let's get started. So if you're thinking about relocating to Lubbock, Texas for a slower pace of life or retirement, or you are moving to Lubbock for a job opportunity, which a lot of you might be, well then let's take a deeper dive into what makes the hub city the hub city. Okay, so let's talk numbers, because honestly, that's probably why you're considering moving to Lubbock, Texas, is you've heard that the average cost of homes and the overall cost of living is going to be a little bit lower. Well, that's not a rumor, that is in fact true. And so in terms of housing, we are about 16% lower than the national average for home prices. Let's put that into perspective with another major city in Texas, like say Dallas. Dallas is going to be about 14% more expensive to live there than it would be in Lubbock. And so that same $265,000 house that you could get here is going to cost well over $300,000. If you're making $100K in Dallas, you're going to be saving almost $15,000 a year by living in Lubbock, Texas. So if you are considering living in a smaller town, you're okay with a slower pace of life, and you don't want to live in the big hub of Texas, well, Lubbock, Texas might be a great opportunity for you in terms of affordability. Not only in housing, our everyday essentials is going to be lower. You're talking gas, electricity, the grocery store, the veterinary, medical. Generally speaking, everything in Lubbock is going to be lower than most cities in Texas, especially the larger cities, and probably significantly lower than where you're looking for. On the contrary, I know you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I've looked at homes. Yes, we have no state income tax, but your taxes are going to be high. You're right, we do have a little bit of higher tax rate. However, we have some amazing schools here, and to help offset that tax rate, we do have a very affordable housing market. Like I said, 16% below the national average, 14% below Dallas. So you can get an amazing house. You might be paying a little bit more in property taxes, but everything overall is going to be significantly lower. So now let's talk about our weather. I think a lot of people want to know, what is the weather truly like in Lubbock, Texas? Well, there's a saying here in Lubbock where we can experience all 4 seasons in one day. And I'm not exaggerating by that on any level. We will definitely see some snow, we'll see some hot temperatures, we'll even see maybe some rain, we'll have a good spring shower, and then you'll end up with a windy day later in the evening. It is crazy. We have so many weather changes in the springtime. Now, however, if we're more so in the spring, yes, weather will fluctuate. We live on a large, flat caprock. And so with that being said, there is nothing really to block all of that wind that comes into Lubbock. So in the spring, we get a lot of wind. It is pretty windy in the spring. Let's be real, we're pretty much windy all year round, but I think I've come to be used to it. I think in a lot of these videos, I'm like, moving my hair out of my face, but I just feel like it's the norm compared to what we see in the spring. With the wind, we also get to see haboobs. And so haboobs are these large dust storms that you can see rolling across the caprock, coming into Lubbock, and they're just these big brown dust storms. Are they pretty? No. There's wind everywhere. You can't be outside. It's pretty ugly. It doesn't happen often. We don't get very many haboobs. We will get them a couple times in the spring, even with the spring wind. However, too, in the transition seasons, you're gonna be in a heavy coat one minute, and you're gonna be literally in a tank top the next. You're gonna be shedding layers all the time during the transitions of seasons, which I feel like is pretty common in a lot of places. And then in our summers, we're very hot. We're a very hot climate, similar to Las Vegas. We're very dry. We don't get as hot as Arizona. We're in the 110s, 115s, but we do get pretty hot. This has been one of the best summers ever. It is amazing. 98 highs, we'll see a couple hundred days this summer. When in previous summers, yes, we do get into the hundreds for sure. However, not as humid as, say, Houston. We're not hot and sticky where you literally can't go out and you're drenched in sweat. So very dry summers and winters too. That's kind of why we say our cold is pretty cold here, because it's not a wet cold, it's a very dry cold. And I will say, more often than not, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day. What I love about our weather is you can see right now, even in the sky right now, there are no clouds. There are no clouds a lot of days in Lubbock. It is just bright, beautiful sunshine. And so if you want to be outside and you love seeing the sunshine and you are okay with a couple gloomy days a year, we get almost 4,000 hours of sunlight each year. So we get a ton of sun here in Lubbock. And again, it's usually just always pretty, unless it's not in the springtime. Now let's talk about neighborhoods. So Lubbock definitely has the areas with different vibes, different growth trajectories, different price ranges, of course, right? But let's talk about the price ranges between 300 and 500. You're gonna have newer construction in these neighborhoods around Kelsey Park, Hatton Place, Viridian, Abbey Glen. Those are gonna be your areas south of town off of 1585 between Indiana and Quaker that are going to see the biggest growth right now if you're looking for a newer construction home, like I said, between that 300,000 to 500,000. That's in the city, just awesome, 3 to 4 bedrooms, great starter homes or family homes, depending on what you're looking for. They're near shopping centers, grocery stores, retail. It is in the center of it all. Now, if you want a great area and you're okay with being a little bit further on the northern side, which I've talked about before, you can find awesome houses and mature houses. So if you want to be on the golf course in Hillcrest Country Club is a great option for you to have an established, mature, older home in an older neighborhood and on the golf course in North Lubbock. Areas like North Point are going to be a lot newer. You're going to be in a newer home, more than likely. There's some rental properties mixed in there too, but you'll have a newer home where you can generally find homes that are going to be around $5,000 to $15,000 less expensive than the homes that are going to be in South Lubbock. If you want to avoid the Friendship and Cooper taxes because you have looked at the tax rate and you're thinking, absolutely not, I don't care to be in those districts, well, let's focus in Central Lubbock. Areas like where I'm at right now in Melanie Park or Melanie Park North across the highway. This way is Melanie Park South, Melanie Park North, and then also to Lake Ridge, Old Lake Ridge, which is north of 98th Street, Tech Terrace area. Those are going to be your mature neighborhoods, centrally located, that are going to be easy access to get to South Lubbock if you need to. They're also close to shopping and retail off of Indiana. And so you really are close, but you're not having to pay all of those taxes. Are you gonna find a brand new home in Lubbock ISD? More than likely not. You're not gonna be in those new neighborhoods. They're gonna be your mature neighborhoods, but you do get to avoid those Lubbock, Cooper, and Friendship ISD taxes. So now let's move on to the East Lubbock. So I know I don't talk a lot about East Lubbock because, let's be honest, it's not getting the revitalization and the growth that is happening in the other parts of town. However, I did want to talk about Idalou. And so Idalou is a great area east of town that's literally like 10 to 15 minutes, depending on where you're going in Lubbock. And you can be on land. You can be in the country, I would like to say. If you want to be on land, in the country feel, but still have a good neighbor next to you that's just, an acre away, that's going to be Idalou east of town. It is an awesome little town if you want to be closer to the Amarillo side of things, if you need to be closer to the northern states or northern cities of Lubbock, but you still want to live in Lubbock. Idalou in the north part of town is going to be a great option for you. And so for those of you wanting land, like living out in Idalou, there's also a few other amazing suburbs like Shallowater, that's north. You have Ropesville, that's west. You have New Home, that's south. And so these are going to be the spots of town where you can find that acre living, you can find those beautiful ranch style homes, or you can build your dream home on some of these acre lots that they have available for sale. Some of them have deed restrictions, some of them are in a neighborhood, so it just depends on what you want. You can find it all in either one of these neighborhoods, and so, or subdivisions out of Lubbock. And so if you are looking for land, you cannot go wrong with those suburbs that I mentioned. And stick around, because I am going to talk and do a deep dive about all of these suburbs as well, so stay tuned for that. I help a lot of clients want to move into either just buy a plot of land to eventually build their dream home, and then buy a house in Lubbock. So if that's you and you're not ready to build your dream home, but you do want land, even under $50,000, that's your sweet spot. I got you. I will help you find that land, because I know some amazing opportunities for you to look into. Now let's talk about traffic. I have a lot of clients that come here and they call me and they say, hey Sam, I just want to be, 15 minutes from Lubbock. Well, that's when you're talking about the suburbs like I just mentioned. If you want some land, you're gonna be 15 minutes within Lubbock. It is very, very easy and quick to get into Lubbock. If you want to be in the center of town, you can get anywhere in Lubbock in 15 to 20 minutes. It is very, very easy to do. We used to joke and say, hey, there's no traffic in Lubbock. And then you live here a while and you're like, oh my gosh, this traffic is terrible. You have the 5 o'clock traffic rush that takes 5 minutes at a stoplight. It is nothing compared to the Austin, Dallas area where you spend, 30 minutes going 5 miles. It is definitely not like that. We do have our rush hour, peak rush hour on 5 o'clock. And again, maybe 5 minutes at a red light. It's just because I think the traffic is congested because yes, we have a couple highways, but majority of the time people are exiting to go off of those main feeder roads like Milwaukee and Slide. Those are going to be your 2 major roads, and those are not highways. They are a lot of traffic lights, and that's why you see congestion going that way, because of all the traffic lights. But if you're actually on the highway, no, there's not traffic, bumper to bumper traffic. And so with the growth that Lubbock is experiencing, obviously we have road growth that we have some growing pains in that off of Upland. Upland is expanding, and so getting into Wolfforth area, Preston Manor, 98th Street, yeah, that's going to be congested. It's going to be, 1 lane right now going each direction, and so yes, there is some congestion, but it's expanding, which, I think with any city, you always have those growing pains, whether that's on the highway or that's off of a 2-lane road as of right now. So Lubbock's job market is definitely more stable and diverse than a lot of people realize, which is one reason why we do handle economic downturns better than most cities. Healthcare is going to be one of our largest employment sectors here. Hospitals like Covenant and UMC are major hubs here in the hub city and in northern parts of New Mexico and in Oklahoma. And that employs a lot of well-paying jobs. We have a lot of people moving here to be a part of the medical and healthcare system here in Lubbock, and also at Texas Tech University. Texas Tech University is another large pillar for our economy, offering jobs in education and in research. And of course, agriculture is a major part of our economy as well. Cotton, corn, wheat. And then also too, we're seeing our economy diversify and expand into manufacturing, service industries, and retail, and also in technology. So we're seeing a lot of expansion in those little niche markets as well. And why are we called the hub city? Well, we are a major hub, like I've talked about, for not only medical and healthcare, but also retail. Parts of New Mexico, parts of Oklahoma, Lubbock is their hub to come here to shop at places like Costco, places like the mall, places that we kind of take for granted that we have in our backyard. For medical, they come here for medical specialty doctor appointments, they come here for shopping, just to hang out, things to do. And so we have a lot more things to do as a major hub than a lot of these smaller surrounding towns bordering into other states as well. Interestingly enough, we're also becoming a base for remote workers. A lot of people will move to Lubbock and they want to live in Lubbock versus living in Amarillo or Midland or Odessa. And so they have to go to those cities and travel, but their main hub is going to be Lubbock. And so they rather commute to those cities outside of Lubbock because of what they can get in Lubbock, the things to do in Lubbock, the housing, the overall camaraderie here in Lubbock. I mean, people want to be here. I work with a lot of people just like you that are moving here. Their spouse, you may have to move here for work. Your spouse may not need work right this second or may find a job here in Lubbock, but you have kids and you have a family and you want to be in a city that has things to do. You don't want them to sit around and be bored all the time. Well, that's probably why you're looking to move to Lubbock. That's why I help a lot of people just like you move to the Lubbock area and then just commute to those other cities for work if that's something that you're interested in doing versus living in those smaller towns. And I will tell you, you go and visit those smaller towns, then come to Lubbock and visit and just kind of see the difference, because there really is a major difference between Midland, Odessa, and especially Amarillo. Our economy is not an oil-based economy like parts of Midland and Odessa. That is why you see Midland and Odessa, honestly, Midland for sure being a lot more expensive than Lubbock at times, or the home values decreasing at other times, so it's definitely more of that oil-based town where we're far enough from Lubbock where we do not rely on the oil production as a driving force for our economy, which I think a lot of people don't realize. Again, going back to, we have a lot more stable market and economy with a lot of that more diverse economic job opportunities that most people also don't always see here in Lubbock. So now let's move on to the schooling. You've heard about where to live if you want to go to different school zones. Well, what are those school districts? How many do we have here in Lubbock? And we only have 3 school districts. And so we have the Cooper, which is going to be the south and southeast parts of town. We're going to have Lubbock ISD, which is going to be the oldest school district here, all of the centrally located homes. And then also too, you're going to have Friendship, which is going to be west, a little some is south, and some in North Lubbock. And so you have two biggest rivalries in the schooling district here in Lubbock, and that's going to be your Friendship and your Cooper. Those are going to be head to head, always competing for each other. And if you've done your research and you have kids wanting to go here and you want them to go to the best school district, you might have various opinions, because some say Friendship's the best, some say Cooper's the best, and they also do offer different opportunities for your child depending on what you're interested in and what your needs are for your specific child. But like I said, with lower tax rates, of course, those are going to be coming with higher tax rates. If you want the lower tax rate, you don't necessarily care about the school district you live in, or you love being in the centrally located school, because we do have awesome schools in Lubbock ISD. That's not to say that there's not awesome performing schools in Lubbock ISD, like Honey and Miller Elementary and Hutchinson Middle School. We have some awesome local Lubbock ISD schools without the high paying tax rate, with some schools performing at or below the state level. We do have that, but we also have a mix of charter and private schools. And so we have awesome private schools here. And I've done a video about the private schools here in Lubbock. And so if you are interested in private schools, no matter where you live, obviously you can send your kid to private schools. So if that is something you're interested in, private schooling here in Lubbock is also phenomenal. Most people sometimes will only do private schools. Most people think that Friendship and Cooper are better than the private schools. So it's really going to be based off of what you and your kid need and what you're looking for in that school district. If you want to be in the suburbs and you want that smaller student to teacher ratio, and you want maybe like a 10-to-1 or 9-to-1 student to teacher ratio, well then let's look at the suburbs around Lubbock, the Idalou, the Shallow Water, New Home, Ropes, that area. Those are going to be your smaller suburbs of Lubbock that will have that will offer that more one-on-one student teaching aspect. Not to mention the higher education in Lubbock, which is Texas Tech, of course, Wreckham, Lubbock, Texas Tech, one and the same. Just kidding. But Texas Tech, we have over 40,000 students here at Texas Tech. It is a top-tier research institute. We are part of the Big 12 Conference. That means we have a ton of people coming in here for the games. We have a ton of people wanting to do sporting events, not only for Texas Tech football, but for basketball, softball, baseball. A lot of people love to come to Lubbock for that camaraderie and the games, that which bring a lot of people in. And we also have Lubbock Christian University. Lubbock Christian University, LCU, is just down 19th Street North, westish, 19th, and so LCU is also a big Christian school here. And then also in Levelland, which is just a few miles down the road, we have South Plains Community College. South Plains Community College is awesome. Wayland Baptist College is here. So we do have a lot of higher education here that I don't think a lot of people do realize, because Texas Tech is obviously the largest of them all, but we have a few also smaller higher education schools that are awesome to go to as well. And as far as, parks and green space for families, we have over 80 parks here in Lubbock. Actually, this summer, they just added 15 new walking trails around the different parks. They've redone a lot of the playgrounds and the splash pads around Lubbock. So they have been definitely focusing on adding more of that family-friendly free activities. We have the Covenant Park development that's being built. It's an awesome facility too that will offer a lot of fun, unique gaming things to do. There is going to be, like, I think an indoor bowling alley. There's going to be a gym. There's a lot of awesome indoor activities for that as well. We have Adventure Park, which is half inside, half outside. I think the actual first part of the aquarium actually just opened at Adventure Park, which is huge for Lubbock. We don't have an aquarium and we don't have a zoo until recently. That aquarium just opened its doors, apparently. I haven't been yet. It's been like a week maybe since it's open, and I'm dying to go. But I can't wait for that to really finish. The aquarium, Joyland Amusement Park. We have places like Tega, which is an indoor gymnastics, pool, recreation space. And so there's a lot of fun indoor free activities, indoor paid activities, outdoor free and paid activities, just depending on what you're wanting for your family. But being outside, like I mentioned, we are sunny a lot of the days here in Lubbock. And so getting out and enjoying that weather, there's a lot of parks that you can go and do that too. I think what makes Lubbock very desirable in terms of families is the affordability of homes. You can buy that house that you've always wanted, and then you can afford that vacation. You can afford to go on those awesome family vacations. You come back to an awesome home. There's things for your kids to do. We have awesome school districts, whether that's private or public. And then too, maybe one day your kid will go to Texas Tech and become a Red Raider. So I think, that's the appeal that a lot of families love living in Lubbock. The family-friendly community vibe is definitely very strong here in Lubbock. I think Lubbock's cultural scene is what surprises many people. So whether you are a family and you want to know what's coming for adults, well, let's talk about that cultural scene. The cultural scene in Lubbock surprises a lot. We are the birthplace of rock and roll legend Buddy Holly. We have the Buddy Holly Museum and then the Buddy Holly Performing Arts and Sciences Center. That is a huge project in downtown Lubbock. It is absolutely stunning. Symphonies, plays, comedy shows, live performances, Broadway musicals. I mean, everything. There's a lot that goes on in there. Ballet Lubbock is kind of, in that general area too. So there's a lot that's happening with the Buddy Holly in the cultural art scene. We have the First Friday Art Trail, which happens on the first Friday of every month. Go figure. It is downtown. You have a lot of different spots, a lot of different breweries, a lot of different cultural scenes. You have a lot of different artists coming in that paint. I mean, there are so many great local spots downtown that have just that personal touch of artwork, that personal touch of what encompasses Lubbock. And a lot of people like to go and view it and look at it at the First Friday Art Trail. It's really pretty. Our food scene has also expanded over the last few years. We have one of the largest food per capita in the state, if not like the US. We have so many restaurants per capita here in Lubbock that it's unreal, beyond just your Tex-Mex barbecue. We have so many restaurants opening, and then not to mention all the wineries that are around Lubbock. Lubbock's Caprock winery scene is awesome. We produce a lot of grapes. Our soil is great for grape production. If you didn't know that, now you do. Now when you come to Lubbock, tour some of these wineries because they are amazing if you love a good wine. Also, too, a lot of these wineries have a lot of fun activities in the summertime. They have a lot of fall fest, they have a lot of summer fest, live music, auctions, farmers markets happening at the winery, and it's just so pretty. You can walk the venue, walk around in the vineyards too, engagements, weddings, baby showers, you name it. A lot of these wineries are beautiful event venues for that too. You also will see the Texas ranching heritage here that brings in a lot of people to come and tour it. They have a lot of activities for kids and adults as well. It's a great history moment that is north by campus. Then you have 4th on Broadway, Independence Celebration. You have a lot of celebrations that go on downtown, especially for the Christmas show on 34th Street is a huge parade on 34th Street. It blocks off all downtown and all of 34th Street. You have places like Cook's Garage that bring in a lot of artists into Cook's Garage. You have the United Supermarkets Arena that bring in artists as well. And so I think what makes our venues unique is that they're not built for tourism. We're not built by, hey, come look at our stuff. They are genuinely built for the interests of the city. We genuinely have an interest in the cultural and the musical and the art scene, that these are built for people to come and look at, to take a tour of, and to genuinely just have fun and learn about the cultural aspects and history here in Lubbock, Texas. Another museum I really like is the American Windmill Museum. I did a video of fun things to explore and fun things to do as a tourist here in Lubbock, and it really was fun filming that because we went to The American Windmill Museum, they have an awesome train exhibit there. We're also getting a dinosaur exhibit that's coming in town. There is the Prairie Dog Towns, like I've mentioned before, the Ranch and Heritage. There's a lot of just fun, the World War II Museum. So there's a lot of fun exhibits that if you are a history buff, we do take pride in that and can show you a lot around our town. Now, I know that was a lot of information, all from neighborhoods to things to do, lifestyle, economy, weather, you name it. I hope that we covered a good general idea of some of those questions that you've been wondering about Lubbock, Texas. I help people just like you make their move to Lubbock, and I absolutely love it. I love helping you explore the city and teaching you about our town, not only the neighborhoods, but things to do, places to see, what you can do here in Lubbock and raise a family. And so if you have any questions about Lubbock specifically, if you are considering Lubbock or you're ready to go and you want to know what neighborhoods would be best for you depending on what you're looking for, let's chat. I'd love to meet with you and your family and help you make that smooth transition into Lubbock, Texas. And until next time, I'll see you around.